Zoey 101's iconic time capsule episode features Chase losing his mind trying to figure out what Zoey might have said about him on her secret tape that got put into the time capsule. But once it's buried, he'll have to wait 20 years to find out. Well, can you guess when this episode premiered? Yep, that's right, 20 years ago. Everyone grab your shovels, because if Zoey 101 was real life, it would officially be time to dig that sucker up. And my childhood, it's over. It's dead, it's been taken out back and shot. Time Capsule was released in season 2 of Zoey 101 all the way back in 2005, just a few weeks after Kanye famously dissed George Bush on national TV.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
And this is an episode I have always remembered ever since seeing it back when I was a kid. I remember thinking 20 years seemed like an impossibly long time to wait, and yet here we are. And clearly, it stuck with a lot of people because this was the only episode special enough to get Dirty Dan to come crawling out of his foot cave and give us a sequel in the form of a 5-minute YouTube video. 10 years after this episode premiered. So guys, in honor of the 20th anniversary of this memorable episode, it's definitely time to crack that time capsule right open and take a look back to see if the episode still holds up. And I'll be going over the weird sequel short after covering the episode as well, so be sure to stick around. You don't want to miss that shit. As always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give us a like and maybe subscribe, you know? I may just slide into the DMs of my childhood crush if you do. And if you have any other episodes or shows you'd like me to cover, let me know down in the comments. All right, let's dive in. Before class starts, the boys are clowning on an old PCA yearbook from the 80s. Where did they even get that from? The girls walk over and start clowning on the yearbook too.
Looks like PCA used to be a school for geeks and losers.
Their teacher walks over and he's a little offended because the yearbook they're trashing is actually his old yearbook from back when he attended PCA in the 80s. He tells the kids they can laugh, but people in 20 years will probably be laughing at their outfits.
I doubt it. This shirt will always be hot.
Yeah, it will. And feeling inspired, Zoey comes up with the idea to make a PCA time capsule, and the teacher is instantly on board. He decides to make it an actual class project for everyone to bring in something that represents who they are right now to put in the time capsule. Okay, first of all, what class even is this? In what class would creating a time capsule actually relate to the studies at hand in any capacity? This is the same teacher we see in the Jet X episode when the kids make commercials. So I would assume it's like a film or broadcasting class, but creating a time capsule has nothing to do with that at all. Second, this time capsule project didn't exist until Zoey started flapping her lips. Now all the kids have to scramble to come up with something to hand in for an actual grade? Zoey is the worst. Cut to Logan, literally about to bust a fat load right in his shorts while looking at pictures of himself on the TV. He's trying to choose the best photo to leave in the time capsule as his project. Okay. I love that he could just be doing this on his laptop, but instead, he decided to plug into the HDMI to blast himself on the entire TV.
Yeah, you're looking good. Nice.
Michael has finally had enough, and he turns off the TV, which somehow also turns off the background music for the entire show.
Now I need to look at your armpit shrubs. Thank you.
Does Michael have the Channel Chasers remote or something? After Logan has his autosexual tendencies interrupted, he asks Chase and Michael what they're putting in the time capsule, and they say they're writing a song about their experience at PCA. And yeah, we never get to hear that shit, which pisses me off. It probably would have been a banger. Logan then cracks a sick joke on Chase and asks if it's just gonna be a love song for Zoey.
So I guess it goes like, I love you, Zoey, from my head down to my toey. No.
Cut to Zoey, who is recording a video of herself, presumably for the time capsule, when a janitor notices she's filming. And this poor janitor man, he just wants to feel special for one tiny small moment, and he asks her if she'd like him to appear in the video, to which Zoey says no. She mumbles a mean comment about the janitor and restarts the video.
Okay, we don't want to scare the people of the future. Let's start this again.
And quite frankly, Zoey is a little bitch. What's so scary about a janitor? Is she scared of anyone that's a lower class than her? Highly disrespectful to the hardworking gentleman who keeps your school clean, Zoey. He's out there making an honest living and just wanted to feel special. Let the man be a star. Nicole tries to pick out her favorite article of clothing to put in the time capsule. Sure. Really believable that a girl obsessed with clothing would part ways with her favorite clothing item. And Lola says she's not doing the stupid assignment and they both just try to go to bed. But Quinn's snoring keeps them up and they're not happy about it. But to be honest, they should probably blame PCA for having walls so thin that they could hear her snoring through the walls as if she was in the same room. Also, how is this not a problem earlier? Haven't they lived next door to Quinn for a little bit now? Did she just develop snoring out of nowhere? Meanwhile, Zoey and Chase are chatting about their time capsule projects, and Chase finds out that Zoey talked about all her different friends at PCA, including him, on the tape she recorded. He asks her what kind of comment she said about him, and she cheerfully replies that he'll find out in 20 years and runs off to class, leaving Chase alone and upset. Okay, Zoey's dumb as hell for not realizing that Chase is in love with her from this conversation alone.
But if you were talking about me, you might say, what?
I'm not telling you what I said.
Why else would he be so obsessed with finding out about what she said about him? Chase and Michael keep working on the song that we never get to hear, but Chase can't focus. His mind keeps racing about all the different things Zoey could have said about him, and then Logan comes in and overhears them talking. He decides to make Chase feel even worse by emphasizing that after tomorrow, the DVD will be locked away for 20 years. And Chase just stares back at him while licking his lips. And it's quite creepy. And the scene just ends as well. What did they say to each other next? What the hell happened? Back with the girls, Nicole finds Quinn sleeping upside down in the student center in an attempt to stop her snoring. And I have to point out that this could actually kill a person, as 8 hours is the minimal amount of time it takes to die from hanging upside down. So Quinn, I don't think you should do that. Nicole tells Quinn that hanging upside down didn't work because she was still snoring. Frustrated, Quinn decides she needs to try something else, and she recruits Nicole to monitor her snoring to help get rid of it. Nicole then pulls the red lever to bring Quinn down, and Quinn falls, breaking her spine and possibly paralyzing her for life. My God. Cut to the project due date and everyone is dropping their trinkets into the time capsule. Logan autographs his own picture before throwing it in, and this pisses me off because he actually only signs the glass on the photo frame. Bro didn't sign the actual picture at all. That's not how autographs work. When it's Lola's turn to put her item in, she turns on the acting and says she planned on putting her grandmother's locket in the time capsule, but it's all she has left of her, and breaks down into tears. Mr. Bender is a pushover and gives Lola full credit for the assignment, and she walks off all smug.
Acting.
I'm pretty sure she's close enough to the teacher that he would have heard her say that. And again, what does any of this have to do with anything they've been learning in class at all? So they bury the time capsule, and that's that. Class ends, I guess. And that must have taken literally 5 to 10 minutes max. What are these kids paying for if not an education? Also, the guy on the left is wearing jean shorts in the wide shot, but full-on jeans in the close-up. I don't know. Late at night, Chase has a dream 20 years into the future, the year of 2025. Yeah, right now. And I don't know how I feel about that, but I know happy is not the feeling. In his dream, Chase is watching Zoey's DVD in hologram form, you know, 2025 things, and Michael wakes him up right before he can hear what she has to say about him. And Chase must have given himself a concussion. Bro, that looked rough. Chase crashes out on Michael as if he was really about to hear the truth from the DVD in his dreams. Brother, it was your own mind's creation. It wasn't the real video, buddy. Chase then tries to go back to sleep, but he can't. So he decides to drag Michael out into the pouring rain to dig up the real time capsule. Let me just say, Michael is a good friend.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
They complete their mission and get Zoey's DVD from the capsule and then rebury it. Back with the girls, Quinn and Nicole are still trying to fix the snoring issues. Quinn busts out some rare South African guppies and then snorts the guppies like they're poppers, and I could not be any more displeased. Meanwhile, Chase starts watching Zoey's DVD and he's finally about to hear what she said about him, but he pauses the video just as she mentions his name. He closes the laptop and wakes Michael up to talk to him.
Is it wrong?
Does it feel wrong?
Kinda.
Then, you don't need to ask me what you already know.
And honestly, I really like this scene. It's memorable, and I think Michael's line, "Does it feel wrong?" is genuinely heartwarming, and I think it's some great friend advice. The girls walk in on Nicole and Quinn spooning in the common room and wake them up. How would they have accidentally gotten into this position? I'm thinking Quinn and Nicole might have a secret fling going on or something. Nicole realizes Quinn did not snore the entire night because of the guppies, and they celebrate. Quinn then anti-snorts the rare African creatures into a cup of water, and they're somehow alive and swimming as if nothing ever happened to them? How did they stay alive all night in her nostrils? Dorm advisor Coco walks in and starts choking, so naturally, she grabs the cup of water containing the rare snot guppies, and yep, she swallows it all in one gulp. Quinn should be livid. They finally found a solution to her snoring, and it happened to be a rare, hard-to-acquire species of guppy, and now they just lost the only two they had in their possession. Guess it's back to Snore City. Cut to Chase laying face down on the grass like he just had an all-night bender when Zoey scoots up in her JetX. She ties his shoes together, then runs over to wake him up. And fun fact, Zoey's outfit here actually appears in Drake and Josh as one of the disguises in the episode Theater Thug. Zoey tells Chase that maybe she was a bit harsh earlier when she said it would be 20 years till he found out what she said on the DVD. So she says she's going to tell him in 10 years. She then lures Chase into chasing her, clearly flirting. Why? Why are you playing with my boy's heart, Zoey? And Chase falls to the ground from his shoes being tied together. Zoey speeds off on her JetX as Chase hops along, ditching his backpack and books in the process. But when class is basically a 5-minute outdoor meeting on the grass, who needs a backpack, right? So that's it. The episode ends without Chase, or the audience, even figuring out what Zoe said on the tape. After all that hype, Quinn's snoring plotline also ended technically unresolved, unless we are to assume she somehow gets her hands on more rare guppies, which I guess she did, because I don't remember her snoring ever being a problem again. But Dirty Dan wouldn't stop there, of course. He knew this episode would haunt all of us. He knew that I would lie awake at night tortured by the unanswered questions, wondering what Zoey possibly had to say about Chase on the tape. He knew we were desperate for more. So a cool 10 years later, he dropped a YouTube short on all of us called What Did Zoey Say? The short starts off with a random blonde lady sitting at a table with our boy Chase Matthews. Turns out it's his girlfriend, and he's actually proposing to her with a clamshell. And in a less than fancy restaurant, might I add, proposing in a burger joint is downright crazy. He accidentally calls the girl Zoey's name whilst proposing.
Alyssa.
And this moment always makes me audibly gasp. Calling your girlfriend the wrong name, especially in this context, is absolutely insane, and I can't help but wonder if he's also called her the wrong name while clapping those cheeks. Before Chase finishes proposing, Michael busts through the door, and Chase starts to completely ignore his girlfriend to catch up with Michael instead. And all that is funny, don't get me wrong, but kinda seems out of character for Chase. The Chase we knew was a really sweet and kind person. I don't really think he would be treating his girlfriend like trash, but whatever. Chase asks why Michael is all covered in dirt, and Michael says it's because he's been digging. He hands Chase a familiar looking DVD, and Chase freaks out because it's the DVD Zoey put in the time capsule. Chase's girlfriend asks, "Who's Zoey?" and the boys just completely ignore her. Chase asks Michael how the hell did he pull this off.
I flew to California, all right? I rented a shovel,
went to PCA, and I dug it up myself.
And okay, alright, let's unpack this real quick. Michael's clothes are still dirty, implying that he just dug up the time capsule and then came straight here. But they're both acting like they haven't seen each other in years. How did Michael even know Chase would be here? Who gave him the address of this restaurant? How long has Michael been dirty on the streets, hopelessly looking for Chase? Chase reminds Michael that it's wrong to watch the DVD without Zoey's permission, but Michael reminds him that Zoey said he can hear what's on the DVD in 10 years, not the original 20. Chase's girlfriend butts in to ask if this could wait till after they finish getting engaged, and Chase ignores her and instead asks everyone in the restaurant for a DVD player. Sadly, no one has a DVD player on hand, so Michael says he'll just read it to Chase since he transcribed the entire video. Who the fuck does that? Michael really went and dug up the time capsule, watched Zoey's DVD, and transcribed the entire thing, all without being asked? What even made him think to do all this? Especially when Chase himself seemed to have moved on. Before Michael finally reveals what Zoey said, Chase pulls out a giant-ass picture of Zoey to stare at, to help sweeten the moment. Chase's girlfriend is rightfully upset and everyone keeps on ignoring her. Michael starts reading the note and reveals that Zoey basically knew that Chase had a crush on her. Chase freaks out and says, "She knew?" And Michael says, "Everyone knew." Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there, Dan. Zoey knowing that Chase liked her shouldn't be a surprise to Chase on account of the fact that they fucking dated. The entire series ends with them finally getting together and becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. So why is Chase surprised that Zoey knew he liked her? Why is he acting like he never got a chance to tell her how he felt? Are we pretending the finale episode never happened? This fucking short was made by Dan Schnyder himself, and I should not know the Zoey 101 canon better than the creator of the show. Chase's girlfriend butts in again and asks, "Knew what?" And Chase replies that I'm in love with Zoey, even now. Damn, Chase, that's brutal. The rest of the note says Zoey thought maybe Chase just wanted to be friends, but also thought maybe he could be her soulmate. Chase and Michael then freak out together like two little schoolgirls, and Chase whips out his tech mate to text Zoey. I fucking love the tech mate, man. Who at this point, canonically, should be his ex-girlfriend, since they dated in the final episode and clearly aren't together anymore, but Chase is acting so excited, it's completely implied that this is meant to be the first time he's going to confess his feelings to her. Michael stops Chase and says nobody uses tech mates anymore. How dare you, Michael? So Chase decides to run off to find Zoey in the streets somehow, completely ditching his almost fiance. Look, just because the tech mate is outdated doesn't mean people don't text anymore. Zoey would have no way of knowing which phone Chase would have been texting from. What? Chase runs back into the restaurant after leaving, and his girlfriend thinks she might have one last chance. But Chase just snatches the ring back from her and just runs off again to find Zoey. Then, Michael asks the poor heartbroken girl if he can go to her house to take a bath, and then the iconic Zoey 101 theme song starts playing. Okay, tell me you couldn't get Jamie Lynn Spears to agree to appear without telling me you couldn't get Jamie Lynn to appear. This trash was downright embarrassing, and it's disrespectful to the lore of the show. Absolutely unacceptable. Dan thought he was being clever making a 10-year follow-up since Zoey agreed to tell Chase in 10 years in the original episode, but he doesn't even get his own lore correct from the rest of the show. How the fuck do you mess up a show's lore in 5 minutes? And that entire journey was actually a pretty brutal experience from beginning to end. Let's just take a look at what really happened during the original episode. Zoey gets the entire class roped into an extra assignment that wasn't even originally planned in the teacher's curriculum. The kids pick random items to put in the time capsule and bury it. Chase digs it up to watch the DVD, and then he doesn't watch the DVD, and that's it. Then in the 10-year follow-up video made by Dan Schnyder, we see that Chase has turned into a total jerk, using an innocent woman as a placeholder girlfriend when his heart has really never moved on from Zoey. Very sick and wrong. And what's even more upsetting is them butchering the canon of the actual show. The entire series ends with Zoey and Chase dating.
All right, don't break my boyfriend.
They kiss, and Zoey calls Chase her boyfriend. So why does this entire video act like that never happened, and she is still a long shot crush that he has no idea would ever like him back? Disgusting, offensive, and unnecessary. So there you have it. 20 years later, after unpacking the entire Time Capsule saga, I can safely say that this Nothing Burger episode and its lore-shattering follow-up should both stay buried deep in the ground where they can never hurt me again. But enough of me yapping. What do you guys think about Time Capsule and the follow-up video? What did Zoey say? Do you agree with me that the original episode was pointless and the follow-up video was even worse? Or do you think I'm being a little bit harsh? Let me know how you're feeling down in the comments. Let's kick it. And if you stuck around this long, maybe consider subscribing and checking out some other videos. If you do, I will leave my credit card at an undisclosed location and then leave a clue as to where you can find it. And for my Patreon and channel members, I have a different kind of poem for you today. Roses are red, violets are blue. When I touch myself at night, I think of all of you. I can't thank you enough. I could pull out my heart and present it to each of you, and it still wouldn't represent how thankful I am for your support and love. Thank you. If you're still watching, hi, fancy seeing you here. How's it going? All right, that's enough. That's enough. All right, we've had fun. Hope you guys have a good time, whatever you're doing, whatever time of day it is. And all right, thanks for listening.